Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahi Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Sahna Vavatu Sahno Vunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Asato ma satgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Sarve bhavantu sukhinah Sarve santu niramayaha Sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukh bhag bhavet. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Sai Ram. Good evening and a beautiful welcome to everyone on day 13 of the Atma Chalisa Parayanam. I am conducting this session today from a very holy place, most beautiful place called Tiruvannamalai. I have spent the entire day today in the ashram of Maharishi Ramana, and it has been an amazing experience. I'd been having this pull of visiting the Maharishi in his ashram, and so we traveled early morning at 4 today, and I am just had 3 hours of sleep, but I am absolutely and fully charged, having experienced the most divine presence of that one consciousness and the presence of that master. I will share more about this experience in the coming days, because today I'm in just an amazing bliss. There was a pull, there was something that was asking me to visit Maharishi in his ashram, though I experienced his presence many times. However, there was a calling to come here today. And last time that I came here was in December of 2015. So exactly 7 years later, I am in that holy place. And I only can say that it was magical what happened today. And I knew it. The call was so strong. And the way the program happened was so sudden. I knew I had to be with him today. And but I'm here sending you all the loving energies from the Ramana Ashrama and from the great master. And I hope today you will receive his blessings, all of you, and his energy will travel to all of you through my words. These are not my words. I'm just speaking. I am praying to Maharishi today to take over, and he should inspire today's satsang. So we spoke about yesterday that there is a solution always hiding in a problem or a challenge or unexpected events that come in our life. And when we accept the challenge, we accept what has already happened, because what has happened cannot be undone. Therefore, acceptance is wisdom, and that acceptance helps us to deal with it and helps us to then focus on the solution. And we typically find, if we do not react and if we accept it and if we see it as an opportunity to get better at the game and to become more skillful, and if we see it as an opportunity to grow, and if we see it with a sense of excitement and adventure, and that helps us to completely turn the situation around. And what it gives us is a experience of being equanimous. We are able to see and act on the solution, and we start getting better and better at this game of life, and our discrimination starts to grow. So today we are going to talk about the message of Maharishi Ramana, because today's satsang, today's session is dedicated to him. And as you walk into Maharishi's ashram, unlike many of the other masters, there is only one message very boldly written on the walls of the ashram, and that's the story of his experience when he was 16 years old, when he achieved self-realization. And the message is so beautiful and so simple. And I think that message is so profound and requires actually no explanation at all. And it's such a refreshing change from, the sayings that we are often used to from masters. So the story goes that when he was 16 years old, one day he felt suddenly that he was about to die. And he had this very uncomfortable feeling. While he was actually hale and hearty and healthy, he suddenly had this overwhelming feeling that death was near him. And so what he did, he simply lay down on the floor, and he wanted to experience what death was all about. So to aid it, he actually, tried to pinch his nostrils, and he tried to hold his breath, and he became stiff in his body, and he tried to pretend what it feels to be in the state of rigor mortis. And so he imagined, and he, what death would be like. And because he wanted to experience it firsthand, how it feels when you are dead. And in that experience, what he found was that the body dies, but there is something which doesn't die and which still has the awareness. And he could see his body being stiff and not breathing, but he was experiencing everything. And that made him realize that the real self was not the body. There was this awareness, and there was this consciousness which was ever present. And he realized that the body was an illusion, and the body is just holding on to something which is the real self. And from that day onwards, he discarded all the idea and notion of the body and started to remain in abidance of that awareness. And he would absolutely ignore all the thoughts that would cross his mind. He would not react to those thoughts. He would let the thoughts come, and he would know that those thoughts were coming into the mind. And he disassociated himself from it, because he realized that he is not the mind, he is not the thoughts. And he stepped away from it. He did not fight it. He did not try to control it. He did not try to change the thoughts. He simply realized that he was not the thoughts. And so therefore he felt that it was foolish to try and do something with those thoughts. So he simply said, I am not that, because he had had this experience. And therefore he refused to be drawn into the world of thoughts and into the world of the body. So he would just sit and he would only meditate and remain in the awareness of that consciousness. So that is how simple it sounds when you hear it, but that's how natural it came to him. And by steadfastly remaining in the abidance of the self and ignoring all the battle that was going on in the mind, all the thoughts that were coming in, he simply chose not to react and pay any attention to those thoughts. And just by remaining in that, he became self-realized, because he understood the self was neither the body, nor the mind, nor the thoughts, nor the feelings, nor the emotions, which is what is constantly tugging at us. When we say we are feeling very happy today, or when we are saying we are upset today, or when we say we are angry today, or all the things that, bother us or either excite us. When somebody makes up one's mind, and that mind has come from a direct experience that I am not this, and that all this is just an illusion, because all this comes from outside of me. And therefore, if I keep reacting to it, if I keep giving importance to it, this is what grows. We know it for a fact that whichever thought we feed, whichever thought we give attention to, that thought grows and that thought manifests. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. So that's how everything starts happening for us. And remember the example that I gave all of you of the screen, where Satya Sai Baba made me sit and showed to me that how our thoughts get projected on the screen and how those thoughts create karma. And so if you're attached to those thoughts, you're giving meaning to those thoughts, then of course the whole cycle of karma starts to operate, and we are constantly caught in the in either enjoying the fruits of our actions or suffering the consequences of that. We're caught in that cycle. So Maharishi Ramana, in that instant, having understood that the body and mind were separate from the self, and the real self was an observer, and the real self does not die. Death comes to the body and death comes to the mind, but the self itself remains. He instantly freed himself from all the plays of the mind, and he refused to budge from that state. He just simply said, I am not going to react, and therefore I will remain silent. And he got liberated. Now, this may sound very difficult, but it also appears ridiculously simple. Actually, if we were to try this out, in addition to other things that we'll be talking about, but if we try this for the next 20 odd days and tell ourselves that, look, we know this knowledge, right? And if a 16-year-old boy, I agree that he had the advantage. He didn't have a conditioned mind. At a 16 years, we still have not got a stuffy mind like ours, which is stuffed in by the opinions of the world, our own judgments and our own experiences, which make us, get really inflexible. A 16-year-old is quite open. And as a 16-year-old, this is what the kid decided. And therefore, it realized that it was not interested in the tricks of the monkey mind. And it just stayed away from it. So I think it's a great idea. If it can come so simply, it's worth giving it a shot. Perhaps in our childlike state, in our innocence, and because we are in this Parayanam now, and we are also putting in that effort. We are bringing in the intensity, because this whole 40 days is bringing our willpower. It's bringing our, the force in us is getting expressed. And this force is what is required, because this force is everything. It's just that we've never tapped our latent force, our force that is inside of us, the energy that is inside of us. It's just been lying dormant. We've never used it. That Ichcha Shakti, that willpower through which actually, everything got created, through which we send this light, through which we, do the healings, through which we send this love. If we can employ this Ichcha Shakti, this willpower, through this right understanding, and if we have the blessings of a master like Maharishi Ramana, and if he's inspiring us today with these words and with this very simple message, there is no other message, there are no sayings, there is actually nothing else over there. It's just that in the silence, through the meditations I had the whole day, there was nothing else to be expressed. All that I had to receive, I received. And there is all that the energetic balancing that had to happen, happened. And I was in a state of absolute equanimity. And there was something that got triggered. There was something that happened today. And I have absolutely no words to express how simply the interaction happened. So I guess, there's no sense in talking more about this because there isn't anything else to talk about. There wasn't any other message. And often we complicate things by overanalyzing it. If this message is understood clearly and if it is received by all the hearts which by now on day 13 are absolutely open, I think this is the right time when with the grace of the great master, this seed has been planted in our heart. And I can only add a prayer that may this seed of the truth, which is expressed so simply, may this seed grow. And may this seed grow quickly because it's a fertile ground. It's a prepared ground. It's a ground where, we have been working with our own selves and we are ready to receive it. I had planned to actually talk about something in continuation of yesterday, but I honor the message that was coming to me. I honored the presence of being here. And I've traveled here on behalf of each one of you because we are all one. And I have always honored what the inner self tells me. And I never question it. I never doubt it. I act on it. And I realize that when I act on it, everything starts happening. How you will reach, who will come along with you, at every point of time, you start having this experience that the universe is waiting for you, right? Right from the fact that, as we reached the ashram, everything was chaotic. It was a Sunday morning and there was so much of traffic and chaos. But just imagine, as we reached there, a car came out of the parking and there was only one parking available and there were hundreds of cars waiting already. We got a slot. And that's how the day flowed because, there is someone else who had called you. And therefore, that someone makes all the arrangements for you. And when you live your life in that state of surrender, then without a plan materializes because you're open to it. You're not putting your mind to it. There were a few people who I met last night who asked me where I was going. And I told them that this is where I was headed. They said, we would also love to come. I said, sure, come ahead. There is enough space in the car. But of course, only those who are meant to come, they come. Because people keep thinking, people keep making plans. And yes, it's okay to make plans, but I have learned something else. I have learned to live in the moment, in the present. And when the present gives you something, you just take it because that's how life is. Plans happen with the mind. Yes, you should use the mind to become absolutely clear in your execution. You should use your mind to bring perfection, but you must act from the heart. You must act from the source of yourself, and you know it because as I told you, the belief turns into faith and the faith turns into knowingness and the knowingness turns into beingness. And in that knowingness, you know that the whole of consciousness is waiting for you to receive you, to guide you and to take you where you need to be. So when you know that the universe is waiting for you and the universe is creating it, the journey becomes so beautiful. And I just hope that today you're receiving the vibration and the energy of the joy that I'm experiencing. It's a joy like none other. And may this energy and may these words have the impact as it should, as it is meant to be, and as is willed by the Master. So with that, simple and yet profound message of Maharishi, I want to tell all of you that I love you, and life is not as complex as we have made it out to be. And it is actually, so profound and so simple, so meaningful and so joyful. So may you receive this love coming from the Great Master, and may you always be in this love from this moment onwards. So with that, I'd like to end the session today. Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu, Samast Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We can keep our eyes closed for a few minutes and receive the blessings of the Master of Experience. So I'm going to end the call today, and thank you all for being here, and see you tomorrow. Lots of love and light. Sarah.